Kenya, ambapo vigogo wa NASA wanazungumzia kuhusu mkutano uliofanyika muda mfupi uliopita.
Published yesterday was signed by Mr. Aden Duale, purportedly the leader of the majority in the National Assembly, and the Election Laws Amendment Bill 2017 was signed by Honorable Cheptuma, all of them members of the Jubilee Coalition. When we retired yesterday, it was basically on the basis of the publication of these two bills, and we all agreed after we had adopted an agenda which included consideration of the fact that there should be no amendment to the electoral laws during this period intervening between the verdict of the Supreme Court and the repeat presidential elections. Before the end of the day, the bill was published. The two bills were published. We looked at these two bills this morning. We have copies thereof. And at the end of the day, I would say that Jubilee are very bad losers. And they are bad losers because the electoral laws as they exist in our statute books were enacted through a bipartisan process. We spent so many days in Windsor Hotel. There were so many interventions by the diplomatic community, the church and other stakeholders, the religious sector generally. And we thought we had put in place electoral laws and processes that would guarantee free and fair elections, anchored in the Constitution of Kenya. And you remember when the Supreme Court made its determination and final judgment thereafter, they said that the repeat elections or the fresh elections must be conducted in strict compliance with the Constitution and the law. Now, these bills, basically, their objective is to remove everything, to amend everything, which was the basis of the verdict of the Supreme Court, which means that the electoral system in Kenya has changed fundamentally. By dint of Section 44 of the Elections Act, the law established an integrated technology as the electoral system of Kenya in regard to identification of voters and transmission of results. And of course, there was the element of biometric voter registration. Now, everything that went wrong in terms of the previous elections has been now sanitized by this new proposed legislation. And to the effect that, beginning with the Election Offences Act, it would now be possible for the government to use public resources, to deploy public officers to campaign for the Jubilee Coalition. That law, if it was true that it was part of the law of Kenya to allow cabinet secretaries to campaign in presidential elections or any other elections at the time when the elections were held, then there would be no need for this amendment to the Election Offences Act. But they're amending it because they know they were in clear breach of the law when the last elections were conducted on the 8th of August this year. But when it comes to the Elections Act, The amendments are drastic. They go beyond, what I'll call enabling amendments to ensure that, in fact, we have better elections. We are putting back in place the electoral law as it was in the year 2007.